5-minute English lesson. Daily conversation phrases. Welcome to your 5-minute English lesson. Today you will learn useful English phrases for daily conversations. Each phrase is numbered and followed by an example showing how it is used. Let's begin. Greetings and starting conversations. 1. How's it going? For example, you say this to ask someone how they are in a casual way. 2. How are you doing? For example, you say this when greeting a friend or coworker. 3. Nice to meet you. For example, you say this when meeting someone for the first time. 4. Long time no see. For example, you say this when you meet someone you haven't seen in a while. 5. What's up? For example, you say this to casually ask what someone is doing, responding and continuing the conversation. 6. I'm doing well, thanks. For example, you say this when someone asks how you are. 7. Not much. How about you? For example, you say this when someone asks what you're doing. 8. That sounds good. For example, you say this when you agree with an idea or plan. 9. I see what you mean. For example, you say this when you understand someone's point. 10. That makes sense, for example. You say this when something becomes clear to you. Asking for clarification. 11. What do you mean? For example, you say this when you don't understand something. 12. Can you explain that? For example, you say this when you need more information. 13. Can you repeat that, please? For example, you say this when you didn't hear clearly. 14. Could you speak more slowly? For example, you say this when someone speaks too fast. 15. I'm not sure I understand. For example, you say this when something is confusing, sharing opinions and feelings. 16. I think so. For example, you say this when you believe something is true. 17. I don't think so. For example, you say this when you politely disagree. 18. I agree with you. For example, you say this when you share the same opinion. 19. I'm not sure about that. For example, you say this when you are uncertain. 20. That's interesting. For example, you say this when you want to continue the conversation politely. Ending conversations. 21. I have to go now. For example, you say this when you need to leave. 22. Let's talk later. For example, you say this when ending a conversation but staying friendly. 23. I'll see you soon. For example, you say this when you expect to meet again. 24. Take care. For example, you say this when saying goodbye politely. 25. Have a nice day. For example, you say this when ending a conversation in a friendly way. Great job. You have completed your 5-minute English lesson for daily conversations. Practice these phrases every day to speak more naturally and confidently. Subscribe for your next 5-minute English lesson.